You're watching Kenosha Community Media.
Hi, I'm Carole, and we're here at Behind the Arts 2017, and we're talking to Jeanette Loudon. Could you tell me about your artwork and how long you've been doing it, and just expand on that?
Well, I mainly do children's book illustration, and I've been doing that, about 18 years. I started at a publishing company in England doing educational stuff. And when I moved here to the US, I actually started being freelance, so I've been doing all these books since then.
What kind of subjects do you like to draw?
Animals are a big thing that I like to do. I like to add humour into my work. There's a lot of my books randomly have a bird pooping in them. I enjoy my work. It makes me laugh, and so definitely animals is a big thing. And as you can see, there's a lot of animals involved.
Is there any special age group you aim towards?
Yeah, it's probably elementary. One of the authors that I work with has just done his first novel, kind of preteen novel. So he's doing another one, which I'm going to be working on today, about Donkey. So I'm going to be doing that today when people come in.
How many books do you think you've illustrated?
Actual published books, about 16. Stuff that's gone into educational books, it's probably a couple of thousand. Not books, actual individual illustrations, but it's a lot. But I love it, so it's good. I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Do you do anything other than books? I think once I saw you do a mural somewhere.
Yeah, that was at Whittier at the school in Kenosha. I've done a few murals. I've done painting parties. I'm involved in the Left of the Lake Gallery. I'm one of the co-owners here. I like to do anything creative, whether it's for my job or whether it's for shows at galleries.
So Left of the Lake just moved to this building. Could you tell us a little about Left of the Lake?
Yeah, so it's from Left of the Lake magazine, which has been going for a few years. I just got involved a couple of years ago. And it was like, how would it be if we opened up a gallery? So this place became available. We looked at it, and it was it needed a little bit of work. So we spent most of last summer and early fall painting it, and we opened November last year.
So who else is involved in Left of the Lake?
Oh, goodness. All right. So there's 7 of us. Myself, another designer, Josh Fraser, Peg, who is here today as well, Chet Griffith, Artworks, Julie Janowitz. She's one of another new kind of people that's involved. Lisa Admowitz Clare. I've never actually say that word before. I've always just said Lisa. I've never had to say her full name.
I'm hoping I have it right.
And then John Bloner. So who is, he kind of herds all us cats. So, so it's a good group. It's a fun group.
Okay, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, sorry.
Making a big list of names, but It's interesting that John Bloner's involved because he's also involved with Kenosha Community Media. I didn't realize that he was involved with this too.
Yeah, so he's I would say he's definitely the one who kind of chases us all and makes sure everything's done in time. We've got a new magazine that's just in print now, so that should be coming out pretty soon. But and of course, Chet Griffith with Artworks, and he's got his place here, but he's also involved with this place, and so it's a lot of people, but it's good because it's a lot of work too.
So do you have a website or a Facebook page or an address, since you're in a new location people might want to know about you? Yeah,
I have a website, JeanetteLoudon.com. I'm on Facebook as well, my illustration page on Facebook, Instagram, all the usual places that you can stalk people. And obviously I'm here as well. Most weekends, I was working out of the office that was here rather than working at home. So I have a little studio back there that I've been working from, and but today everything's out here. So.
Okay. How about Left of the Lake? Do they have a way to find you online? Or?
Yeah, so Left of the Lake is on Facebook. I believe if you go to the magazine page, then there's a link. But also the actual website, Left of the Lake magazine, there's all the information on there. And obviously all our information is in the magazine as well. I think the last issue we had the upcoming shows that people could get involved with.
Where do people find the magazine?
There are a lot of local places, coffee shops, Obviously at the galleries as well. So you can find them around. And there's a few in Racine as well. So independent places. Yeah, but they're around, and it's out 4 times a year, and it's a good little magazine. So if you haven't seen it, pick one up.
Okay. So do you know the street address of this gallery?
This is, yes, amazingly, 4615 7th Avenue. Okay. So we tell people that we're just up from the boathouse and just south of the city zoo. Oh. Yeah, so because we have yet to get a big sign on the outside, that's our next step. Wow. So right now we just have the sandwich board, but it's, because when you drive past, you can't actually see in the windows. So it's some people, you can see outside and you can laugh at people as they try to figure out where we are. But mostly people find us all right.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed it was kind of in the script,
except
when you put the sandwich board outside.
Because it used to be a bait shop. We have a lot of people coming in here asking for bait. Oh. Standing there with a fishing rod looking really confused. Okay. It's like, I could draw you some bait, but we don't actually have any bait you could use.
Okay. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Have fun at the other galleries. Okay. All right.
Hi. Now we're looking at some miniatures with Peg Roussard. Rocher.
Yes.
Okay.
Rocher Thompson.
I should have you say your name. Let's learn about miniatures.
Okay. I've been doing this since I was 15. I started with seeing a dollhouse in a magazine I couldn't afford. So I conned my father into building for me. And we started there, and I was still at his workshop on Friday having him cut out more stuff for me. So he hates it, but I love it, and I keep doing it.
Oh. So where do you get all these different ideas? They're all different sizes, shapes?
The ideas pretty much come out of my head. A lot of them are some kits I've built. Some of them, I go to the international conference in Chicago every year, and they have classes and builders from all over the world. So a lot of their techniques I learn and I bring back and use, and so that's where it's pretty much come from.
So could you name some of your themes? It just looks like you have themes here.
Oh, I have a thing for lighthouses, so I have actually 2 different ones that I've built, and that one is was a display case that came into a store damaged when I was there, and I kind of said, "Well, I'll buy that off you." Okay. So I took it home, and I've done things to it, and so it doesn't really look like it did when I dragged it out of the store. Uh-huh. The other themes, I do like Halloween, so you'll see a lot of Halloween pieces. I took a class many years ago with a guy who does paper clay, which is a product you can buy at most of the arts and crafts stores. And I enjoyed it so much I went back, and I finally got good enough where I was his assistant for a while and helped him with his other students. So you'll see a lot of paper clay, and he did a lot of medieval buildings, so I did what he did. And now I work for some people who build Tudor furniture and Tudor homes, so I've been doing Tudor and researching the Tudor era. Oh, so there's a few of those pieces also.
I see a person standing there that says, "Why am I here?" Could you explain that?
That is my daughter's Barbie, and she's going to kill me when she sees I took it out of her doll cabinet. I wanted to show scale because miniatures come in various different scales, and Barbie is a play scale, and that's some people build in that scale, and she's quite large. So that's why she's here, is to show you that Barbie couldn't sit in a quarter scale house. She'd be too big.
Do you have any recommendations for people who want to learn how to do this?
The hobby, I think, is kind of suffering right now. I'm seeing a lot of people age out. I just returned from the conference last week, and everyone there, I'm the youngest end of the demographic. So how to get involved. I have free magazines here you could start with. I'm trying to give away some of my stuff so that, to spread the hobby around a little bit. But, I'm very lucky that this international conference is an hour's drive for me. And it's been going about 20 years. So there are some things in the area you can do, but it's a bit of a drive.
Did you want to add anything about Left to the Lake that Jeanette might have forgot?
No, she pretty much covered it. Okay. So, yeah. Other than I'm not an artist and I don't know what I'm doing in a gallery, so I'm just the editor for Left to the Lake. So,
I would say you're an artist. You arrange things in a
In an
very
artistic-
nice
yeah.
way, in an artistic
good
way.
with
That
color.
makes you an artist.
Yeah, I'm good with color. Other than that, I do build a lot of other people's kits. So, I'm kind of on the border of artistic and craft, I think. So, one of my projects for this coming year is I'm going to start building my own structures and designing them, hopefully smarter than that first dollhouse I designed at 15, which is 6 foot long and too heavy to bring here today. So,
Oh, that would be interesting to see that.
yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to us. Hi, now we're talking to Chet Griffith at his new gallery Artworks, which just moved. Could you tell us about your new location and about your art and what do you have here?
Well, we moved to the Union Park Arts District. We're right on Sheridan Road, a block north of Lemon Street Gallery. And the move was predicated on the desire to have an arts district in Kenosha. So there's 4 working, functioning galleries in 1 studio space, and they're all within 2 blocks of one another. So when you put those 4 galleries around the park, which is going to be energized this summer, it's going to be pretty dynamic.
That's great. And what do you have in this particular studio?
Well, I mean, it was important that we sat down and didn't step on each other's artistic toes because the pool is only so wide. So, right behind me we have a shelving system with small pieces. So we went from having a giant gallery to a tiny gallery with very small works. So we're able to do tiny shows that are themed, and some of the larger shows that we used to do at Artworks, those are over at Left of the Lake Gallery, a couple blocks away.
And how are you involved with Left of the Lake?
I'm a part of it. I'm the publisher of the magazine, and my partners and I, we pump out that magazine quarterly, and it's free, and it's all over the place. And all we're trying to do is spread awareness to the community that there's a ton of stuff going on in the arts.
Did you want to say anything about your artwork in particular?
Oh, my artwork. I primarily do a lot of drawings. Paintings take too much time to set up and clean up these days. So there's a drawing sitting over at the table there that I've been messing with for about a year now. I designed the button for this year's Get Behind the Arts tour, and I guess you have to sort of see it to wrap your head around it.
Anything else you want to say about art in general in Kenosha?
Well, I have a lot to say about that. The arts are sort of on the verge of a renaissance here, and there's so many talented artists doing so many great things with what's going on downtown and what we're doing here. There's all kinds of new stuff going on down by the train station down there. It's an exciting time to be here, and we just hope that we can get the message out so that artists and the community can sort of meet, on common ground somewhere.
You want to say something about where you're located? Because I notice you're a little bit hard to find.
Well, we have no front door here, and so actually I don't mind because literally Sheridan Road is inches away from the front of my building. So it's 4513 Sheridan Road. You have to turn on 45th, and there's a parking lot in back of my building.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for talking to us.
I appreciate you coming out. Thanks.
Now we're at Lemon Street Gallery talking to Betsy Davis about ceramics. Could you tell me about what you do in ceramics?
Oh my goodness. I do hand building and I do wheel throwing. So I make pottery on the wheels, functional ware, mugs, plates, bowls, things like that. I also do hand building, trays, tiles, sculpting. I work with students at Washington Middle School after school program during their school year. That just ended. So there is some of their work in the other room if you'd like to take a look at that. I sell in the gallery. I sell at a couple of local places also, like Lindy's Juniors downtown.
So do you go over to the school or do they come over here?
They come here. So I get them after school for an hour once a week. So they walk over with a teacher, and then we've got them until, for an hour. So it's fun. They have no lessons. They just kind of do what they like. I help them if they have a specific project that they want to work on. Then I can help them make what they want. But otherwise, it's kind of a free time that they can just create what they like.
So are you down here in the studio quite often, or?
I am here quite often, yes. Usually I'm at the wheel. I do all the firings here as well. So I run the kilns. We fire a couple times a week. So.
So the general public, can they come in and learn ceramics too, or what?
They can. So anytime the gallery upstairs is open, you can come down. We charge $3 a pound for clay. Includes both your firings and the glazing. It's not instructed unless it's during a class time. So if you do have some experience, you can come down and explore and play, make what you like. But if it's during a class time, then that class fee also includes all of the firings and your clay. So there's no extra charges for that.
Okay, is there any particular colors you like in glazing? I see.
Oh my gosh, I like reds. Earth tones. I like to do brown clay. I like the richness of this over white. Just for me, that's a aesthetic that I like. Doesn't mean you won't see something, in different colors. The darker colors, reds and greens, things like that. I like those a lot.
How do you like participating in Behind the Arts?
This is my first year. Last year I was here unofficially. I just happened to be here working during the tour day. So I did get to see a couple people that had come in, but this year I'm an official stop. So I don't know. It's fun. It's a little bit overwhelming. We've had quite a few people in already, and it's only been like an hour. So I'm excited. I was hoping, that the weather wasn't going to hamper people coming out. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we're at Lemon Street Gallery talking to Beth Derry. Could you tell me about the gallery, about Behind the Arts, about your art, and whatever else you want to talk about?
Certainly. It's a pleasure to be here today. We have our 7th annual Get Behind the Arts studio tour, and we have always been very participatory in the studio tour. Lemon Street Gallery has been here for 18 years, and we have about 85 artist members that we represent. We're a nonprofit visual arts organization. We have classes. We have public clay studio in which we also have classes, and we work with some community groups to use the space as well. I'm a fiber artist, and so I do a lot of wool felting and hand knit items. We're just thrilled to be part of the Get Behind the Arts.
How'd you get first involved with Lemon Street?
My original involvement with Lemon Street Gallery came as a byproduct of the Harbor Market. I was an artist down there for a while, and got to know Melanie Hovey, who was the founder and director at the time of Lemon Street Gallery, and I became involved as a member artist. Then I started to do more volunteer work. Then I started to be on staff as a gallery associate, and then one day the opportunity arose where I could be the director.
So what kind of artwork do you do? And just describe it a little more.
Okay, yes. I am a fiber artist, and primarily I do 2-dimensional wool felting, which is wall hangings, would be a wall hanging, and needle felting incorporates the loosely carded roving from sheep and alpaca and llama, and embedded into other material makes a dense fabric. So that I do primarily as wall hangings. I started originally doing felting through knitting and boiling, basically boiling items and shrinking them to make them stiff and fabric-y, and then really veered from there into the 2-dimensional world.
Sometimes I think you make hats too, because I think I own one.
You do. I do make, and I've done a lot of knitting in my life, and I love to make knit things from really good wool, and you had very good taste in what you selected. So
It's very colorful, reds, blues, purples, really pretty.
yes, it's not your grandma's knitting anymore. Things are really contemporized, and so I have a lot of fun with it. I really do.
Okay. So how often do special exhibits change here at Lemon Street?
Something's always going on. We have every month in our brick gallery, we have 3 different featured artists. We always feature 2 2D artists and 1 3D artist in our brick gallery. Then every 3 months, our entire gallery changes out. So all of our artists, we take everything down off the walls and brand new artwork goes up. And that's what's going on today. So we've got Get Behind the Arts is down and dirty, because this is what the side of the gallery that most people don't see is when we do our big changeover. So.
And you want to say something about Second Saturdays?
Second Saturdays, every second Saturday of the month, we have an opening reception for the artists that are featured in the Brick Gallery. And those are our members. It's from 6 to 9 on every second Saturday. And we have food and refreshments. You get to meet the artists and learn about the work that they do. And it's now turned into a really exciting event, because we now have 4 different galleries located walking distance, real live walking distance from each other here in Union Park. And from revision to artworks to left of the lake, and here people have some really good choices and a nice little walking route every second Saturday. We hope to see you.
How big of an area does Second Saturday cover?
Second Saturday in its own term encompasses many of the downtown businesses, and there are special shopping events that occur. For us, as Second Saturday relates, we are now part of the Union Park Arts District, and with the 4 galleries and artist studio space in the neighborhood, we all work together to make events more compelling for visitors. And last month we worked together and we offered different seed packets to people who came to the galleries. Each gallery had a different variety of seeds, and so that way you can make your garden complete by coming to all 4 galleries. And in February we did a card exchange where people would collect 4 cards, and on the back would make a picture. So you had to have all 4 to make it complete. And so we're really encouraging cooperation between the different galleries.
Very good. Does Lemon Street have a website or something?
We do. Lemon Street Gallery is located conveniently on Sheridan Road at 4601 Sheridan. Our website is lemonstreetgallery.org. And on our website, we have a full list of our classes in which you can register. And we have our artist members listed with hyperlinks to their pages. And it also, on their page, will show examples of the work that they do.
What kind of classes do you have here?
We have, glad you asked, we have pottery classes that we hold in our clay studio. We also offer painting classes, drawing classes. We just had a soap making class last evening. And we also have what we call a la carte classes, where a group of people, 4 to 6 people, can get together and, working with an instructor, design a class for themselves. It's a flat fee with a small materials fee paid to the instructor. And examples of what we've done for a la carte classes: in the winter we did an upcycled mitten making class. And we've done small pottery classes, stained glass classes, soap making classes, and it's a really nice way to work with friends of yours or for a birthday party. Flat $100 and up to 6 people, 3-hour class. It's a great experience.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Welcome. It was good to see you out today.
Okay. All right. Now we're in another new location, which is a workspace. I'm talking to Jamie Kasai. Did I say that right?
Yes, it's Kasai, Jamie Kasai.
Could you tell us about what kind of ceramics you do? And
Well, I like every kind of technique that people use to make clay work. I like to throw on the potter's wheel, which I'm doing right now. I do slab work. I do sculpture. Anything that can be done with clay, I like to do it. I do like my work to be somewhat functional, so I work sculpture into functional things. So I have one project, I have clay pipes, which I make, which have a sculptural bowl on them. I have made these Doruma dolls, and their function is that they're supposed to help you focus on a project. So they have blank eyes, and the idea in Japan, you would have this doll and you would paint one eye in when you had a goal in mind. And when you completed that goal, you could color in the other eye and you would have accomplished your goal. So I made a whole bunch of these for a class, and they're kind of hanging around all over, but that's...
Did you go to Japan at one time or what?
No, I'm just head over heels in love with all things Japanese. My ceramics professor studied in Japan, and she was very affected by that, and so therefore I was also very affected by that at the beginning of my education. And it hasn't died down at all. I just keep getting more interested. Yeah, there's a real tradition of love for pottery in Japan, and I adore pottery, so I think that the way they approach handmade things in general is with a lot of reverence and care. And I love handmade things, so we agree on that. So I handmade, this is my apron, I handmade my tables. I try to handmake just about everything that I surround myself in for my working art life.
So did you go to school to learn this type of thing, or?
Yes, I have a double major in biology and art and design. So I was a biochemistry major when I started college, and then I was taking art classes all along, and I ended up backing out of my biochem degree and becoming an artist instead. Yeah, I was enjoying myself a little too much, I guess, in art to keep going through organic chemistry. Yeah.
So how did you meet Kathleen and decide to get this workspace together?
Well, I was with Lemon Street Gallery for 8 years as the assistant director when it started up. And so I met and have good friendships with a lot of artists from that time. And Kathy and I get along very well. And there was a time in her past she had a ceramic artist as a studio mate. And so she came to a restaurant, actually. We happened to be, and she was looking for a new space. And she's like, oh, maybe Jamie and I could share space. So I had no real plan to have a studio. It was a dream of mine ever since I graduated from college, which was quite a long time ago. So this is a really big deal for me to have this space, and I'm not in the basement because that's where I've been doing my art. And I actually took a hiatus from art to work in the trades, and I still do that. But I'm trying to arrange things to get time to really see this thing happen. Yeah.
So how often do you have your doors open? Do you ever open for like second Saturday or anything?
We have no plans yet for that. I think we're still in our first mode of, getting work done, and it's a real workspace right now, and if we'll be real social about it, that remains to be seen. Right now it's a private-ish place. But the tour definitely will be done every year. This tour is a definite thing.
Anything else you want to add?
Oh, no. Thanks for asking questions.
Now we're in the other half of the gallery here with Kathleen Laybourn, and she's going to tell us about her artwork. Could you tell us something about your artwork?
Okay. Well, I've been involved with doing some more sculptural forms, which evolved after getting tired of painting. It happens where your hands need a little bit more to do. And so I've decided to start investigating some materials. It really began to happen for me because I started sculpting when I was awarded a RAM Fellowship back in 2012, and I had my show in 2013 at Westham. And I started sculpting flowers for a couple of the pieces that I had in that show. And it's kind of taken off from that point on. And so it's kind of a tactile way of connecting with nature and giving myself a moment to contemplate what women have done in the past in terms of flowers. If it wasn't painting flowers with watercolor, it was arranging flowers, because a lot of women in past generations were gardeners. Just women as a flower, symbolically and metaphorically. And in that process, I felt like I was reconnecting with women from past generations, because this kind of work is quiet work. like sewing would have been for a woman back in the day. Very quiet work, contemplative work, embroidery kind of work. And so the sculpting has kind of been my interpretation of that and connecting with that past. And so some of the pieces that I have on the wall are inspired from embroidered pillows that women of generations had made. Also, my mother had a beautiful flower arranged heart on the wall of her bedroom that had a lace fringe, and inside she would put her hosiery. From women back in that generation, they had little compartments and places for all these women's dainties, you know. And so I started thinking about her and about that and how I used to just stare at it up on the wall. I was never really allowed to touch it or go into it, you know, because it was hers in her room. But I was always fascinated by it, and I think I've drawn a little bit of that into some of these sculptural pieces. And so these two finished pieces are part of a larger series that I'm calling My Ladies in Waiting. And so through that process, I'm hoping to talk about different periods. Like I view these two as more of a romantic sort of period. The two pieces I'm working on, one now is emblematic of a younger girl and maybe the bodice of her dress being all flowered and frilly. Another piece I'm working on harkens more to a deco kind of period of time in the women of that era. So I'm just going to see how that evolves over time. And I got a little bored with the rectangle because I, you know, as a painter, you always choose a rectangle. And so I've deliberately gone diamond to kind of put it on its ear a little bit. I've been doing sculptural forms on round wooden surfaces, paintings in the round, to get away from that imposed geometric shape. The circle, the diamond, seems to me a little bit more of a natural shape. And since I'm talking a lot about nature and women and just a deeper level of connection and spirituality, I figured the rectangle wasn't quite where I wanted to go with this particular series of work. But yeah. Did that answer your question?
That's good. Could you tell us a little about your new workspace?
This has been just a blessing. We moved in September. Jamie's been very, very busy doing some other pieces of work that she does on the side. And so I kind of moved in first and had some alone time with the space. It's been a little bit daunting because when you're coming from a space you've been in for 5 years and you move into a new space, it creates kind of an upset in your creative process because it's almost like you have to walk around and shake hands with it and say, hello, where am I now? It took me a little while. Luckily, I got a couple of commissions that I could come in and work on that weren't attached to my work, my real work. And so I would come in and just sit quietly and the kids would play out in the park, and I kind of started thinking, okay, this is okay. I think I can create in this space, you know. And so I slowly started picking up this new series of work, you know, and following through with it. And so the light is different. I mean, the noise level is different. More passers-by. I put up curtains because I didn't want to be so exposed when I'm working, because I need to feel a sense of privacy and insulation, so I'm alone with my thoughts. And there's a safety in that, you know, where then you can let your thoughts go where they need to go when you're creating. But it's been a wonderful thing, and to be now part of this new arts community that's just, it's like a synergy. It's just happening very naturally that now there's a pull to this part of the city, which just turned out to be such a wonderful thing now with the Lemon Street revision, left of the lake, Artworks is here now, we're here now. You know, it's just becoming, this is what artists do. I think we do kind of gravitate. We don't know what pulls us. I mean, different material things, you know, but we all kind of come to a nexus point, and then something really neat begins to happen. So it's new. It's kind of like in its infancy, I guess, because some are more established. Lemon Street's been here for years and years, but for the rest of us now, we're going to see what we can create in this community, draw more people to this part of the city, and just offer something vibrant and wonderful. It's hard to put words into what art does, for the spirit, but we always hope it uplifts,
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
We're exploring one of the locations of Kenosha Creative Space, and I don't know your name, so tell me your name.
I'm Julia Schiller.
And what kind of artwork do you do?
I'm a photographer. You can check out my work on juliaschiller.com, but I also make jewelry, so this is my jewelry company, Zia. And yeah, it's just I was traveling around the world for a couple years, and I brought back a lot of funky stones, so it's a lot of jewelry that incorporates that.
So what kind of photography do you do, or what kind of materials do you use in making jewelry?
Well, for photography, I've done some exhibitions with Kenosha Creative Spaces at Fusion, and I do a lot of black and white classic film photography, as well as just fine art, whatever I find inspiring at the moment. I've done a lot of different photo series over the years.
Could you tell us a little about your jewelry?
Well, as you can see, it's a lot of natural elements, a lot of turquoise and amber and bone and African beads, so just kind of like international jewelry. And I use a hamsa, which you can also see in my design, Zia jewelry design. And so this is a symbol that's really common in the Mideast, especially among Muslim and Jewish communities, and so it's meant to keep away the evil eye. So it's kind of a good luck charm of sorts from the Middle East. So,
Did you travel in the Middle East, or just?
Yeah, I lived in Israel for 12 years.
So did you take jewelry making in school or something, or just
I
learn
went to art school. Yeah,
Where'd you go to art school?
in Tel Aviv.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
How long have you lived in Kenosha then?
I'm from Kenosha, and I moved back about a year ago.
How'd you get involved with the creative space?
From just being around other artists, and especially at Fusion, and I was lucky enough to meet Francisco, and he kind of brought me into the fold of Kenosha Creative Space.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We're going to learn about Avenue A Dance Studio now. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. My name is Ajay, and I am a instructor here at Avenue A Arts. The owner of our studio is Danielle Weber. We teach everything from tap, jazz, ballet, hip-hop, adult and child classes, creative movement. And as you can see today, we've transformed the space for Get Behind the Arts. I am a Kenosha Creative Space member as well. And so this is just a full kind of sync of the arts community in our downtown area at the moment. And we have only a month left of classes. Our recital for the studio is at Parkside at the end of next month. We have a summer session that starts, and then getting ready for the fall to kick off for a whole new season.
How long have you been in this location?
I've been teaching here for just under a year. I grew up with the studio owner. We grew up in Kenosha performing and competing nationally all over the United States. Personally, I'm from here. I've been in New York City the last decade and decided to come back and kind of share my overall arts experiences with our creative economy in Kenosha.
So what kind of dance do you specialize in?
Anything rhythmic, so tap, hip-hop, street jazz. I grew up a competition kid, which unfortunately means I spent hours upon hours learning multiple dances my whole childhood. So I do enjoy doing contemporary as well to get all the technical stuff out of my system, but definitely like a hip-hop and tapper for sure.
So do you have other instructors here too as well, or what?
Yep, we have a couple other people. We have a ballet instructor named Ellie. We have another hip-hop teacher named Brooke. a creative movement teacher named Mimi, and I think that's the bulk of everybody.
Where are you located?
We're at 5913th 6th Avenue, downtown Kenosha, and it's, again, Avenue A Arts.
Are those real flowers hanging in the doorway?
No, these are, so one of my sponsors for my art installations is Silk and Satin just down the street, and the owner's granddaughter is one of my students, so very quickly I synced up with her, and these are all silk flowers. A lot of them are maybe 20, 30, 40 years old, just have been recycled, and a lot of the art I do is nature oriented, so I have my photography up, and also all the canvases around.
Okay, so you're an artist too.
Yeah, I would say I'm a cross between like a Andy Warhol, a Martha Stewart, and a Gregory Hines. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for talking to
Yeah, I
us.
appreciate it. Thank you for coming to our studio.
We're exploring with one more artist. What's your name?
I'm David Jones.
And what kind of art do you do?
I'm actually the executive or co-founder of the Center for Collaborative Research, and we're with the Kenosha Creative Space. So what we do is we do printmaking pretty much exclusively. And so we do traditional forms of printmaking, so etching, woodcut, silkscreen, lithography, and we have artists in residencies, visiting artists, classes, workshops. This young fellow here is Tristan is actually learning how to make a print.
So he's doing a rubbing type
He's
print?
doing actually a relief print. A relief print. So the blocks are hand cut and then hand printed.
So who made the design to begin with?
Marilyn Propp made these designs, and then I made these designs. So Marilyn Propp is the co-founder, my partner, of the Center for Collaborative Research.
So do they have a location or website or something?
We're actually with the Kenosha Creative Space. So right now we're kind of nomadic, and we will be in that space when it opens. So it's probably, what is that, October?
How long has the organization existed?
Well, the Center for Collaborative Research is an outgrowth of an organization called Anchor Graphics, which was a nonprofit print shop in Chicago for about 25 years. So we've been doing this for a long time.
Anything else you want to add?
No, come and visit when we open. We'll have stay tuned. The Kenosha Creative Space is, I think, a great place, and there'll be great stuff happening. So.
Thanks for talking to us.
Pleasure.